welcome back to episode number 96 of Raise the Banner podcast. We have plenty to talk about today, but of course, as usual, it is myself, Matt Couture, Zach Brewitt, Benny Ballgame, Dearth. Boys, how are we doing on this wonderful, cold November day?
Doing well. 7-2, 8-2. What are the Pats right now? 7-game win streak.
8-2.
Hard to do much worse than that.
Yeah, we're good. Good. It's Veterans Day. Hats off to them. But yeah, feeling good. Pats are in a good spot where, 50 some odd hours away from being 9-2. Red Sox, was it the GM meetings, I think is what's this week? Or front office meetings. I don't know what they're calling them nowadays. So some good little nuggets of information coming out of that. And, so feeling good.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to get in for the Patriots, but I do want to start off with the Boston Red Sox because we didn't get into it last week. Plenty to talk about there. We'll have all off season, obviously, to get into it, but I do want to get into it a little bit to start off here. Alex Bregman is what I want to, really get into to start this off here. We have him opting out of a 2-year, $80 million contract. Ben, I know you and I talked about this a little bit earlier today. So Zach, I'll give you the start. Where do you see his kind of market being? I posted today kind of saying I don't really see it being incredibly hot of a market where I don't think he's going to be getting that big 5 to 6 year deal. Are you kind of feeling the same way? And what do you think the likelihood is that he ends up back in Boston?
Yeah, so I'm a little torn on Bregman just as a whole in terms of where I stand on wanting him back, not wanting him back. I think it's going to be something pretty similar to a Blake Snell last year, right, where Blake Snell held out for most of the offseason a couple of years ago, and then he was, I think, the first person off the board last year. Went to the Dodgers, obviously, for I think it was a handful of years. I kind of see something like that happening again with Bregman, especially with the lockout coming next year, right? You don't want to – I think a lot of players, especially Bregman, are not going to want to necessarily be in a bidding war. They want to get locked up as quickly as possible for as long as possible. Now, when it comes to the Red Sox, I kind of put it at 5 years as the absolute max. And if it is 5 years, then the numbers, the annual average value has to make sense. If we're going 6 years, 180, if we're going 6 years, 185, 190, I'm out on that. I think you can find, I don't want to get locked into a mid to late 30s Alex Bregman when you already start to see him kind of having some injury issues already. So if you can land him in the 120 range, kind of similar to what you had now, but maybe a little bit more strategic with the opt-outs and the money and deferred money, whatever the case, I'd be more okay with that. Now, do I think he's going to settle for anything less than 5 years? I don't. I think you'll probably get that number, especially if that is kind of where the market is leaning towards, I should say. But again, if it is a 5-year deal for anything over $30 million, which is probably what it's going to end up at, I have a hard time kind of justifying that, even as it currently stands, without having a backup necessarily for him. Because then you look at your left side of the infield is Trevor Story in his low to mid 30s already. Then you have Bregman. At some point you're going to have to start getting younger and bring in Marcelo Meyer. Right now he's probably your second baseman as it stands now. Who do you bring in there? Who do you bring in as first baseman? So obviously would welcome him back if he can keep the production up at a reasonable amount of years. The average annual value doesn't necessarily bother me, but the amount of years I think is what I'm going to focus on, especially if Breslow gets into it. Starts offering up 5 years, 200 or 5 years, 185, whatever the case. Then I would have a harder time stomaching it. But if it's 4 years, 124 for 130. It more doable, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I mean, it's pretty reasonable, like ballpark to be in. Ben, where are you at?
I'm kind of in a similar spot. I would say, realistically, I think you have to be in that 4 to 5 year range. I'm not 100% sure if I would do 6. So we'll see what they do. I mean, they with deferred money. I mean, the Red Sox gave him $120 million on a 3-year deal. I think you kind of have to be in that 4 to 5 year, $120 to $150 million range based on the years. I'm not sure if you have to go to 150 if you're giving him 5 years, but I think you kind of have to be like 140 plus, which I think is a 140 million over 5 years is 28 million a year. So we'll see. I mean, the highest offer he received last year was 6 years and 171.5 million, and he turned it down. So not sure what it would take this year. He's a year older. He'll be 32 in March. So if you sign him to a 5-year deal, you're getting him through. He'll turn 36 in the last year of that deal. I mean, that's kind of where they're at with contracts now. Is, you know, the give and take is that you give up a little bit on the back end for the production now. That's typically how obviously the larger deals work. But I'd be really hard pressed to say to give him a guaranteed 6th season. Maybe if he wants a 6th year, maybe make it like a vesting option that he has to do X in order to achieve a 6th season. But I'm kind of in that 4 or 5 year, $28 to $30 million per year range. For 4 years, I would be happy to give him 30 a year because I think that's what you would need to do. But that's roughly the ballpark that I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably a little bit even lower than you guys are. I'm certainly not going 6 years. I'm really probably not in the 5-year ballpark. Unless it's like maybe 25 million a year range, 25 to 26, 27 maybe a year. I would consider, but I threw a proposal out there today. And this is in part because I just really don't think his market is going to be incredibly hot. Like you said, he's going to be 32, you said this year, right?
It's 32 in March.
32, he missed another significant amount of time this year with a hamstring injury, or was it a groin hamstring, one of the two?
I think it was hamstring this year, yeah.
And he, even when he came back, he had a decent amount of struggles. I don't think his market is going to be tremendously hot. I just really don't. Combine that with the fact that there is a flurry of other options on the corner right now. Pete Alonso obviously doesn't play on third base, but he's over there on the right side. There's Bo Bichette, who is being seen as a guy that can play short, but also be a second baseman or a third baseman. And then there's also the guys coming over from Japan that can play the corners, along with a few other guys is it Taylor? Not Taylor, Naylor, over there and coming over. Was he with Seattle to end the year?
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in Josh Naylor. I'm out on Josh Naylor this year.
No, but I'm just in terms of competing in the market. And so you look at these guys and you say, how many teams are going to be in the market to pay notable dollars for these players, and I just don't see him commanding a 5 to 6 year deal. Maybe he gets a team that will go 5-130, but if you're in that sense, is 5-130, 5-135 like that great of a deal for him? Like comparatively, I don't know. The proposal I put out there was a little bit of a mix of kind of what he did this past year, this offseason, and a mix of giving him a little bit more of a long term. And it was a 3-year, $102 million base, right? So $34 million a year up front with a $20 million vesting option and an opt out after 2027. So he can come in and he can play 2 years at $68 million here, and he can opt out again. So if he plays 2 more good years here, we don't know what happened in 2027 in the MLB. It might be a lockout, but hypothetically, he comes in, plays 2 more good years at the age of 34. If he has a good year, he can hit free agency again and sign another big 2 to 3 year deal if he really wants to. In package up. If not, he can hold out and he can play out the rest of this deal at another $34 million. And if the vesting option was 900 at bats between 2027 and 2028, plate appearances, which he had over 450 plate appearances this year. So that's not an incredibly hard thing to attain. I think that's a relatively reasonable compromise. Maybe you have to bump up the dollars a tiny bit. Maybe you have to bump up the vesting option a tiny bit money wise. But I'm not willing to go 6 years, and even 5 years is what I'm kind of on the. I don't even think I would go 5 years for him. If that's the case, I would. There are guys that I would rather turn to and give the money to than they give it to him. And I love him. I love Bregman. I love what he brings to this team. But I would rather turn and give the money to like a Bo Bichette than for 5, 6, 7 years than I am to give it to Alex Bregman.
So, okay.
Yeah,
but
if it's 5 years, I'm giving him 25, 27 max. I'm not going to the 30 either. That's kind of where I'm at as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a balancing act. If you go in 25 a year, sure, maybe I'll do 5 years. But if he's still in 30 a year, no, I'm not doing 5 years, 150.
No,
but
thanks for the year, and we'll see you soon.
Maybe there's somewhere in the middle ground that could come close, but you know what I mean? It's all a balancing act in where the range of what I'd be willing to do. But for the most part, 5 years is probably not in the ballpark, given what I'm going to guess he wants in terms of AAV.
Yeah, agreed.
So if that's the case, what's your solution at third base?
I approach this with
because I don't think Bo Bichette's making the switch to third. He might go to second, but I don't see him as a third baseman, and he's also a guy who can't stay healthy. So, for me, I would be more apt to give Bregman, if Bregman said, if it's 5 years and 140, I'll sign now. I would much rather do that than give.
What do you say? If it's what?
Say 5 and 140, which is 28 a year. I would rather do that because you're going to have to give Bo Bichette $35 million a year over a 7-year deal, probably. I would, and you're talking about a guy who's more injury prone than Alex Bregman over his career, and is not as good defensively, in my opinion. Now, granted, the defense will be there longer because Bichette's a younger player. That's just where those are my two options. Granted, I haven't, scouted other guys. I would say, if you're really high on the Okamoto kid as a corner infielder, sure. But that, then you have to figure out, okay, well, he's a left-handed hitter. And statistically, we'll see how it translates because I guess both him and I don't know the other guy's name. It's Murakami or something like that. Neither one of those guys hits well against high velo pitching. Obviously, there's a transition there, and I think Okamoto was a little better against high velo pitching over Japan. I don't know what the scouting is on him, but I'd be more apt to believe that the pivot would be to him at third versus a guy like a Bo Bichette in the middle infield, and then figure out, okay, can he play third? Does Mayer go to third? there's too much risk there when you're probably going to have to give Bo Bichette north of $200 million over a long-term deal to get him to play somewhere other than his natural position.
Yeah, again, it's a balancing act big time with Bregman in the sense of like if 5'140", like that's close to the range where like maybe I would consider it. Maybe. If we could sit there and say 4 years with the vesting fifth that he has to like plate appearances in over the third and fourth year to earn that fifth and stay healthy, then maybe that's a compromise that I'm willing to do. Just looking at the free agent market, like one other option that's not the sexiest name, but in terms of like underrated value that you could fit there, in terms of replacing, it would be moving Mayer being your third baseman. And again, it's not the sexiest name, but an underrated option would be to sign Ha-Seong Kim. He had a injury-riddled 2025, but he was once a very good ball player. And by once, I mean pretty damn recently for the Padres. And, he's a guy that can slide into second baseman. He's a very, very good defensive player and can kind of insert there and play 2B. He can obviously also play shortstop and third, so he also offers you versatility. That's a backup option. Is it the greatest option? Probably not. But you also have secondary options that you could go to and not feel like you have Mayer in the sense of like you could put Mayer at third and fill in second base, even internally, as long as and feel okay as long as you add a power bat elsewhere.
Well, so what if we're sticking on the Mayer at third base, as an option? I know like another name that's probably over the hill or not the sexiest name in the world, but the Diamondbacks are pretty motivated to move a Ketel Marte. Like, how much would it take to go get him from the Diamondbacks? If you wanted to stick,
I would guess a lot.
Meyer,
I would guess the price is a lot there.
Well, then maybe not, but
he's still very good, and it's very good. He's still very good, and he has a little bit of character issues, I think. So I don't know what the price will be there, but I mean it's an option. It's certainly an option. There's always. I mean, there's also the Christian Campbells of the world. It's where does he fit in? Do you want him to be an outfielder or a second baseman? I don't know what they see him as. It's tough to project, but he also could end up being a possibility at second base.
I think for him, they have to internally figure out what they want to do with him before they make that decision, because you already saw him just getting in his own head with second base, outfield, first base. Like, figure out what to do with him first, and then say you are moving forward our second baseman or whatever the case. Like, but I agree. I think that's definitely an option once they figure out that, because they do have that piece in the farm.
I think they're likely leaning towards him being an outfielder, just based off. I don't know if they trust him as a second baseman in the major leagues right now.
Sure.
I think they lean towards him being an outfielder, but at the moment, it's difficult to project where they see him without, really kind of, it's really difficult. I mean, it's basically what I'm saying. Really difficult to see how they project to see him playing out. But in terms of like this middle infield, Breslow came out and said right up front, Story is the shortstop this year. Now he kind of said that about Devers. So on one hand, you're like, well, he said it about Devers. So does that not mean anything? Or on the other hand, you say he knows he said it about Devers. So the fact that he said it again tells you he learned his lesson. Like, he's not going to be moving Story off of short.
Sure.
I tend to believe that it's that end of things. So that tells us that Mayer is, I think, currently penciled in as the second baseman for this year. That's the game plan. With their goal is to bring Bregman back, but if not, then I think they look at it and say they can either sign sign a second baseman or a third baseman, knowing that Mayer can kind of play both spots, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing because, like, I mean, like, having that flexibility in terms of what they can go after in this offseason is already going to be difficult because they have a little bit of limitations because they're going to be preferring a right-handed bat. Not that it's a must, but they're definitely going to be preferring a right-handed bat. So if you're also going to be limited in terms of, like, the position as well, then you're going to really tie your hands. So the Mayer being able to play both spots is going to give them a little bit, more flexibility. I look at this guy from Japan, Okamoto. It's going to be really tough to get him here. But I think I'm in more on him than I am in on the other guy. I don't know. How
Murakami.
Yeah,
I think that's his name. I'm way more in on him. If you look at the metrics for Murakami, his strikeout rate in particular is like 30% over in Japan. And I don't know what the other numbers are, but like his those two metrics are far and above poor for major leagues, and he's already doing that over in Japan. So
it's Murakami that has the issue against fastballs, right?
I believe so. Akamoto, from what I understand, is a little better.
I believe it's Murakami that has the issue, like, he hits horribly against anything over like 93, which, like, that is just a huge red flag to me.
I'm good on that, yeah.
Well, you figure there'd be an adjustment, right? It's because guys in Japan don't throw as hard as they do here. There's just not many of them that throw 94, 95 plus.
Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not something that in the sense of, like, I think that, like, if you sign him, it's impossible for him to adjust. Because in the end, like, speed of the fastball is kind of just like speeding up your bat, kind of. But, like, in basic terms, I mean, that sounds very uneducated to say it that way, but it sounds like the dumb way to say it. But
start your swing faster, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of the dumb way to put it, but that in some ways that is what it is. So, like, it's definitely possible, but it's enough of a red flag where I'm looking at the two of them and I'm like, if this guy struggles to catch up to heat, and there's already worries when you're talking about bringing guys over from Japan in terms of adjusting to major league hitting, it brings a little bit of a worry for me.
Absolutely.
Do you know? I haven't looked into it, Ben. Do you know which one of them is notable, like how they are defensively?
So the general write-up, so a quick breakdown. So Murakami is a left-handed hitting outfielder, which doesn't really fit the needs of the Red Sox. So I think they're going to be out on him from that perspective.
But can he play the corner infield too?
That's Okamoto. He's a corner infielder.
Yeah, but I thought Murakami could play too.
I can check. But general write-up. So the big difference between the two of them is the fact that Okamoto is 30 and Murakami is 25. So the adjustment period margin for error is wider with Murakami because you're getting him at 25, not 30. So Murakami's more of a power hitter. He's more of a volatile player because of strikeout rate. He's not, and Okamoto's a better defender. So given the fact that he has raw power and he's 25, that's why you see longer term deals with more money attached to him than Okamoto. Whereas Okamoto is a better defender. He has a little bit of a high, he's a contact hitter, not a power guy. So there's less long-term upside also because he's 30, but he's not a power hitter like Murakami is. So it really depends. Again, Okamoto is a right-handed hitting corner infielder. Let me just see. Oh, I guess Murakami is also a third baseman. I thought he was an outfielder for some reason. Maybe he split time between both. Maybe he's a third baseman and an outfielder.
I heard the comp from Murakami like similarly was Suzuki.
Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah, that was like the comp that I kept everywhere I was looking at him was like that was the comp as a hitter.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed. Like if you're going to tell me that you're going to get Seiya Suzuki, like if Murakami is going to become Seiya Suzuki, sign him yesterday.
I mean,
I would do that. I would do that.
Like,
the difference is Suzuki's an outfielder, but so it's like it really depends on what you're looking for. Like Seiya Suzuki is a 250 hitter that hits 30 bombs a year, and 250 is like.
Well, I'm saying just in terms of when they were coming over. You know what I mean? And when they were coming over, like that's kind of how they projected. Obviously, like we've had hitters coming over from Japan that haven't panned out that have also been like in the similar sense.
Yeah, so Seiya Suzuki, now 32 home runs is a high for him, but his first season here, which was 2022, he hit his slash line was 262, 336 on base, 433 slug, 770 OPS. He had 14 home runs in 111 games. He's not going to steal base. He doesn't steal bases. But the last 2 seasons, he's been really, really good. The average dropped a little bit because he hit more home runs. I'm guessing his strikeout rate also went up. He hit 245 with 32 home runs and 103 RBIs after back-to-back seasons of hitting over 280. But he didn't have as many home runs. He had 20 home runs in 2023, 21 the year after that, and then 32 this year. So, I mean, you know, given that the Red Sox are looking for a right-handed power bat, I mean, Okamoto doesn't really fit that billing because he's not a power hitter. But I could see them, like, if Bregman doesn't work out and they really believe in Okamoto as a player, I could see them pivoting to him, you know, and then figuring out not that signing Bregman would not make them chase a right-handed power bat. Not saying that, but I could see them because you probably don't need to give Okamoto. You're probably going to have to give Okamoto money-wise somewhere in the ballpark of half what you would have to give Bregman. And so you could realistically invest the money you're not paying to Bregman. Like if you say you get Okamoto, I think his projected contract, I'd have to look at what the guy from The Athletic projected, which he was projecting contracts on the higher end, which I've heard in multiple places. And Matt, you said this a couple weeks ago that it doesn't feel like a big spending offseason is coming. I mean, Shane Bieber opted into a 1-year, $16 million contract with the Blue Jays.
So this is
his player option.
This is ESPN by Kylie McDaniel. So actually, this is who I was talking about. He predicts, so just going down. So he predicts just for contracts, Bregman is signed for $5,160, which I think that's a little high.
Yeah. On the dollar figure, yeah, I would agree.
Who is Tatsuya Imai? I didn't know he was getting. I had heard about it, but I haven't heard he's getting posted.
Who is this?
He's a Japan guy.
Is he the pitcher?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
he
think I
getting
saw that on
posted?
Twitter. He was coming out, or X.
I
it
thought
was
he
a
wasn't getting
surprise
posted.
posting.
Oh, I didn't know he was getting posted.
Yeah, I think it was like a
I
surprise.
had heard
posting
about
thing
him
where he
last
was
year.
posting
Let's
Oh,
see.
Matt, real quick, you brought this up about fastball velocity of 93 plus miles an hour between Okamoto and Murakami. So similar plate appearances, 289 for Okamoto, 254 for Murakami. Okamoto has better stats in every statistical category, 86 hits to 47, 19 home runs to 16, 61 RBIs, 61 to 34. Here's where it gets... This is against fastballs of 93 plus miles per hour.
Okay.
This is where the disparity gets massive. Batting average. Now I'm going to give you Okamoto stats, then Murakami stats. Batting average 289 versus 188. On base percentage, it's not a big disparity. 383 versus 362. Slugging percentage 534 versus 400. OPS 916 versus 762. And for the advanced metrics lovers, your WRC plus 157 versus 121. So the biggest disparity is that Murakami is not going to have as good of a batting average against upper level velocity, but you're still going to get power out of him. So he's going to be a modern day version of like Adam Dunn, or Chris Davis, where he's going to hit 190 and hit 30 bombs off of elite pitching over the course of a full season.
So Murakami. So this guy is Murakami's projected contract is 5 years, 80 million plus posting fee.
Let me see.
Let's see if he has Okamoto's. He has 3 years, 36 plus posting fee.
I'm gonna bring up Milliken posted somebody from the Athletic. Hold on, I sent it to you in the group chat, man. It'll probably be way easier to find it in there. All right, here we go. So this is from Tim Britton of The Athletic. So I texted this to you on November 4th. His projected deal for Okamoto, 4 years and $78.5 million. So again, this is from Tim Britton of The Athletic. This guy projects 8 years and $158.5 million for Murakami. And there's rumors that he could see, depending on how the posting process goes and the bidding war, because I don't think he's been posted yet. I think they're posting Murakami early, after the winter meetings is the report that I had read. There's rumors that it's possible that Murakami goes for more than 200. And then
I would be very surprised.
Tatsuya Amai projected from Tim Britton, 8 years, 190.
So he is getting posted. I thought I had read about him last year, and now I'm not going to pretend that I know much about him, but I didn't think he was getting posted this year. But okay, I mean
let's see. He was posted. Well, here we go. This is from 13 hours ago. Oh, it just says that he will be posted this offseason, but it doesn't say when. Okay. It says Japanese ace Tatsuya Amai, age 27, will be posted by the Seibu Lions, and his posting paves the way for him to ink a deal with an MLB club in December. I don't see when he was posted, though.
Well, he hasn't been posted yet.
Yeah, I thought you just said he was expected to be posted, but not officially yet.
Well, once you post a player, the negotiating window is 45 days. So if he's going to sign a deal in December, it means he has to get posted soon. Let me just see.
He might get posted in the next week or two.
Okay, so this is this is from Brian Murphy on MLB.com yesterday, and it says the Seibu Lions announced Monday that they will allow right-handed pitcher Tetsuya Amai to be posted this offseason. Once the posting window becomes open, they get 45 days to sign him to a contract. So they just announced that they will post him, but he hasn't been posted yet. But I'll be curious to see what they do. Depending on how the offseason unfolds, right? So they only have 45 days to sign Okamoto, and he's already been posted. So I don't know when they posted him. I'm going to guess within the last week is when it happened. So call it 40 days. You know, I would imagine that internally the Red Sox are looking at this going, we have to figure out, like, because I would imagine he is probably plan B if they can't keep Alex Bregman. I would have to think that that's what they're doing because there is really no other option on the market. So unless Okamoto is asking for way more money than they're willing to spend on him, I would imagine he's plan B if Bregman doesn't work out. Because I would like to think that their plan B is not Marcelo Mayer or a guy to play third base who is basically a defensive guy that doesn't hit well. I know you brought up, and I apologize, I was having some internet issues. Ha-Seong Kim, he's good defensively, but he's not going to do anything for you with the bat. Like he would
be your second baseman with Mayer at third.
Yeah, but it's like Marcelo Mayer hasn't been able to complete a full season in the pros in his life. He gets injured at the end of every season. So it's like I would like to think that plan B is not Marcelo Mayer can play third and we'll just hope to God he doesn't get hurt in August like he has every single season until now. So where I was going with that is that if they've only got roughly 40-ish days to make a contract offer to Okamoto, we probably are going to get an Alex Bregman answer sooner rather than later. And I would imagine theoretically you could sign them both because Okamoto can play first or third. He's not strictly a third baseman, whereas Murakami only plays third, I think, from what I was looking at. Not an ideal situation. I'd much rather them go get like a Pete Alonso to play first and be your middle of the order bat. I'm not sure Okamoto is the middle of the order bat the Red Sox are really looking for.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, let's move on. We'll have plenty of Red Sox to talk about over the next few months, especially as we ramp up into December and as they get into winter meetings and all that. But the New England Patriots, oh boy, New England Patriots are 8-2.
8 We're all adults, Matt. You can say fucking
2. 8-2. They just went after starting 1-2, us feeling like, okay, this is going to be a really up and down year. They have now ripped off 7 straight wins. They won a couple. We were like, this is nice. We're 3-2. All right, we got an easier stretch of the schedule. Then they started beating up on these teams who were like, okay, nice. They beat Buffalo. Big win. Like, okay, maybe this team is the real deal. They beat Tennessee. Good. They beat Cleveland. Okay. They go and beat Atlanta. Nice. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, boys, where you said over the next 2 weeks, if they can beat Atlanta, and we all said it doesn't matter how they do it. If they go down to Tampa and come out with the victory, there is no doubt that the New England Patriots are Super Bowl contenders. And we're going to sit here right now, and it's going to be proclaimed the New England Patriots are Super Bowl contenders. And no matter Ben kind of shaking his head back and forth, the Patriots are 100% Super Bowl contenders. There is no team in the AFC that is just clear-cut, no doubt better than them right now. You could argue that, in a playoff game, you don't want to play the Chiefs because the Chiefs have won it before, or you could argue the Ravens and the Bills have more experience. But The fact of the matter is the Patriots are playing as good as any football team right now. Drake May is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. The coaching staff has got this team running on all cylinders. And really, they're not even playing their best football, and they're still beating teams. They've lost the turnover battle, was it the last 3 games? And won all 3 games. Now, that could be a little bit of a red flag in saying, well, you can't continue that.
Yeah, the Bucs didn't have any turnovers, right?
No. And so, that's a little bit of a red flag in saying you can't continue that because it's not something that generally can continue and it's not sustainable. But they're continuously making plays when it's needed. They're continuously finding ways to win football games. And they're 8-2 heading into Thursday night's game against one of the worst teams in football, against one of the worst quarterbacks in the history of football. Justin Fields sucks so bad. It hurts. He's almost as bad as Jalen Hurts. I'm just doing that to mess with Ben.
I'm surprised you weren't blowing up the Twitterverse saying that Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback after last night's game.
Yeah, he sucks, dude. But anyways, they're back. They're back. I sent you, Ben, a video, and the guy was like, it's a kind of a joke video, and the guy was waking up from an 8-year coma. He's like, oh, please don't tell me, Tom Brady's still playing football. And he's like, no, they're not. And he's like, oh, well, the Patriots must suck.
Is this the bald guy with glasses and a beard?
Yeah. He's like, well, the Patriots must suck now. And he's like, well, they're 8-2. And then he's like, what? He's like, yeah. And they got Drake May and Christian Gonzalez and a running back that just went for 175 yards, and they're all in their rookie contracts. And he's like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's a good moment to be a Patriots. That's enough for me. Where are you guys at?
I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'll start with the good because I do have some things that I've noticed, and you kind of touched upon it before during your spiel, but like they just went down, as you said, to Tampa, played. It was the best roster team that they've played this year, better than the Bills in hostile territory, and they outplayed them for 57 minutes, 58 and a half minutes. Just a great game all around. Drake, had a stupid interception that I think he's owned up to. And every time he gets asked about a penalty or an interception or a fumble, a turnover of some regard, he always owns up to it and like in a very like positive way. I feel like Mac Jones always said it, but he never really believed that he thought it was a bad play. The one negative thing that I will say, and I've noticed it these past 2 games. Again, I was at the Atlanta game, and then obviously in Tampa. They've had a chance to go down and put the game away these last 2 weeks, and they haven't been able to do it. Right? They were about to go score and go up by 3 scores against Atlanta. Obviously, the fumble, and then that leads to basically a 10-point swing before halftime. And then again, when they're up 21-10 or 21, I think it was 21-16, and they just couldn't find a way to put them away. That's me being nitpicky, I realize. But to your point, if they're going to go in and play some of these teams who are a bit more tenured in the playoffs, for lack of a better term, right? The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, you're going to have to find a way to go down and put these teams away. Now, they've done it in the past. They've done it against really bad teams, the Browns, the Panthers, Titans, etc. But that would be one thing that I want to see moving forward is like you're up 2 scores, you have a chance to go up by 3, go put them away. Don't think around. Don't stop trying don't give away a first and goal the way that they did. But again, that's me being very nitpicky. hard to be upset about them being 8-2 on a 7-game win streak, about to be 9-2 after Thursday night. But yeah, good times to be a Pats fan, and certainly we deserve it after these last 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm feeling good. So my hesitation with Matt saying Super Bowl contender is I think the team still has enough flaws that come playoff time, that is a small red flag for possibly being exposed, right? So, I think Drake May does a phenomenal job of moving in the pocket. He's really shown that, especially in the Tampa game. Matt, you sent me a picture, and Zach, I'm sure you saw it. I think it was on I forget who we hit on the pass, but there was a play where I want to say it was Diggs. There was a play where he slid to his blind side in the pocket, and he's surrounded by like 4 of the 5 defensive linemen that Tampa was rushing. And he like escaped. Basically, the entire protection broke down. He slid into like a tiny vacancy in the pocket and then hit somebody over the middle for like a decent play as opposed to taking a sack.
Is this the third down play to Mac Hollins you're talking about? Where he like slid around one guy and kind of had no room to move, and he just like flung it in there with something on it. There was a 3rd or 4th down play in the 3rd quarter that was very impressive, and I think it might be this one you're talking about. But
it's possible. Yeah, well, the Mac Hollins play that stands out in my head was late in the game. It was like 3rd and 15, and he threw the deep ball.
Yeah.
So it's possible that that's the play you're talking about. So I still think there's some flaws in this team. I think that between they're getting some inconsistent play out of the offensive line. Drake May certainly helping make them not look as bad as it could be. Like, thank God he has pocket awareness and instinct to move around, because if he was either lacked that ability or didn't have the athletic ability to slide in the pocket, he'd be in a world of trouble because he'd be getting sacked 10 times a game. So I think that, and then their lack of an ability, there's 2 things. They can't really get after the quarterback, or at least they haven't been able to. I know Chaseon's been really good, but other than him, no one's really been disruptive on the pass rush. And they can't cover in the middle of the field. So, they do an exceptional job of stopping the run. Is it Chris Tucker? I don't know what it's maybe Chris Tucker, the Bucs' second running back on Sunday, was the first running back to exceed 50 yards against the Patriots defense as an individual runner. And it was 53 yards. I mean, obviously he broke the trend, but it's not like he ran for 80 yards or 100 yards on us. He broke that barrier by 3 yards. So, they still defend the run really, really well. So, I mean, to Matt's point, there's no juggernaut in the AFC. I feel like, like if I had to pick a team, like if I was going to bet on a single team to make the run through the AFC, I'd probably still lean Baltimore, because I still feel like with Lamar Jackson, they're probably the best team in the AFC, top to bottom. I know that they obviously they had a tough go of things early. They had a tough schedule. Then Lamar missed 3 games with injuries, so they have to dig themselves out of a pretty big hole. They were 1-5, now they're 4-5, so they've won 3 in a row, and so. Not to do too far of a look ahead, because that's our second game out of the bye week. So it's mid-December. But I think that's probably that's our second straight litmus test, because we have the Bills out of the bye, then the Ravens the following week. I think that's really where we're going to see, where are the Patriots really in the AFC hierarchy, is those 2 games. Cincinnati's in a week and a half. Burrow's back practicing, but I don't expect him back for the game. Schefter thought that realistically he's going to be back for the Bills game. But I'm feeling it's really hard to feel bad about a team that's 8-2. I feel like we're nitpicking holes and being like, okay, we've basically been fed sour grapes for 5 years. So it's, I feel like we're kind of waiting for the other shoe to fall, where it's like, okay, they're a product of a soft schedule, which is certainly a piece of the puzzle. But, they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. They beat Tampa in Tampa. And then, small little piece to this is that the Patriots have beaten teams that have also beaten good teams in this league. Like, most notably, like you beat the Falcons at home. Falcons, I think they're a better team than their record would indicate. They beat the Bills. They beat the Dolphins early in the season. I get the Dolphins are a dumpster fire, but they just went in and they just thumped Buffalo. And
yes, they did.
And I know that Buffalo hasn't really been typical Buffalo. They've been pretty up and down this year by their standards. But without a clear, like, oh God, like, that team's a wagon. There's no wagon in the AFC, in my opinion. I think the Patriots are deserving of being, the second or third best team in the conference, and anything can happen. The Jets are coming into town Thursday. The injury report should come out soonish because I think they start at 3. So I'll be curious because the walkthrough injury report yesterday was pretty massive. But like I said, they should be 9-2. After Thursday night, being in a really, really good spot. So it's hard to feel bad. I really do think that yes, we are back. I'm just here to enjoy it. It's nice to see that, they're playing well. They're playing meaningful games in November, and they'll be playing meaningful games for the rest of the season. So it's really hard to feel anything other than really positive, despite, our ability to kind of look at this team and nitpick, issues.
Yeah, the big thing that I want to see, over the next couple of days is make sure – I don't want to call this a trap game because it's not, but, like, they need to – I want to see –
I feel like it has trap game, like –
vibes.
Trap
game
vibes.
adjacent.
Kind of like trap game elements, right? Like bad team who has nothing to lose on a short week, and you've got a bunch of injuries. Now, granted, the Jets – obviously, they trade Sauce Gardner, they traded Quentin Williams. They don't have Garrett Wilson for the next month with a hamstring injury. So it's like, thank God the Patriots are good at defending the run. Like, realistically, I was in a fantasy chat earlier today. I feel like if the Patriots give up more than 10 points defensively to the Jets on Thursday, given the current state of that team, that's kind of embarrassing if the Jets come in. Now, again, I'm talking offensively. I'm not saying you look at it, they scored – they scored 27 against the Browns. 14 of those, byproduct 14. They scored 2 touchdowns on special teams. They really only scored 2 touchdowns offensively. So 14 of their 13 points, rather 14 of their 27 points came on a kickoff return and a punt return for touchdowns. Yeah. So anyway, Matt, go ahead.
No, the biggest thing I just want to see is make sure that they're refocused on Thursday, right? It's very easy on this 7-game win streak. You come off a big win down in Tampa, short week, facing a bad team, like to kind of lose focus and dilly-dally into this. And I think even dilly-dallying into this game, like you have a good chance to win. But like I don't want to be coming out of this Thursday night game where you win 23-17 because and it was a close game because you guys played effed around and didn't take care of business against a bad team. They need to come out, put the foot down, take care of business early. And I would like to see a scenario where guys like Drake May and some of these veteran guys don't have to play in the fourth quarter. And it's a blowout. It's a 27-10 game, 27-7 game, 27-6 game, something like that heading into the fourth quarter. And it's not even something we're really kind of worried about for most of the game. On top of that, and they were talking about this on the radio earlier, that, going into this game, assuming they take care of business, they have a lot of rest coming up, which is, I think, really important, right? After this, they'll have 10 days off. It's like a mini bye. And then they have a couple more games, and then they'll have another bye week. So they're racking up a little bit of injuries right now, a little banged up, but they'll fortunately be able to have a little bit of rest as well, which is really important. It seems like Stevenson and Booty have a chance to play this week. My guess is Booty is back, but not Stevenson. But I wouldn't be shocked if neither of them are back, given the short week, and the opponent either. They just need to come out, take care of business, and then you have a couple weeks. Then you have basically a week off. And who they play? They play not the Giants next, right?
No, they're at Cincinnati on the 23rd, and then they host the Giants December 1st, Monday Night Football.
Okay, yeah. So, like you said, I don't. My guess is Burrow's not back by that point. But the fact that they opened up his window already tells you there's a chance that he's back.
I don't think he comes. I don't think he comes back till December 7th.
That's my guess, but it's just kind of odd for him to like them bring him back. I know they have 21 days, but like he doesn't need 21 days to get going. So it's like why get him going so early into the mix if you don't really need to? And I don't know. So assuming he's not back, that's a game that you should win. Cincy's defense is just really that bad. Their offense is good. Joe Flacco, if he's playing very well, can put up points too. So you'll definitely have to put up points. But then you go into a Giants team that just let go of their coach, and that should be another win. And you like the Patriots could be sitting at 11-2. 11-2.
Yeah,
that's we're basically expecting that now, right now.
Yeah, like
which
like
is
they
just blasphemy.
They should be like looking at the schedule. They should be at worst at the bye week 10-3, and that would be that's if the Patriots just lose a shootout to the Bengals. Because that's the thing is obviously the Bengals are going to be able to put up points, even with Flacco. The offense is just too dynamic, and that's the Patriots' weak point is the passing attack, defensively speaking. So I think the Patriots the offense has to be prepared to like run up the score. So the Bengals have the worst run defense in the NFL, and they're 30th against the pass. So like this, like, I mean, obviously, we're talking about the Jets, right? Like the Jets defense, the reason I know about Cincinnati is I was just looking at the Jets defense. The Jets are 19th overall. They're like 9th versus the pass, and they're like 25th versus the run. And so, again, you should win, and then, if you look at the Bengals game, like that to me screams shootout. Like the Patriots are probably going to have to put up 30 plus to win a game like that. I mean, now granted, I don't necessarily say it's impossible because the Bengals just gave up like 47 to the Bears. And, I think the Bears have a couple of guys on their offense that are probably a little bit better than the skill players the Patriots have. But if the Bears can put
Jets.
And they gave up 39 to the Jets in a loss, no less. Now they lost to the Bears too. But if you give up 39 points to the Jets, like that's pretty bad.
Travis Hunter just went under season-ending knee surgery.
Doesn't surprise me.
To repair an LCL repair.
Yep.
6 months recovery.
Yeah, so I mean, Matt, you said this as well, that it's an expectation. Like the Patriots should be
11-2.
a 10+ win team at the bye. Like they should be 10-3 or 11-2.
I would say they should be 11-2, but like,
but I'm saying like
minimum, they better be at least 10-3.
Yeah, and they could be 11-2 at the bye. Especially
we're talking about them should be at 10 wins in November, or I guess that would be December after New York. We talked about them having 10 wins at the end of the season. Like that just shows how
we talked about that being
has gone already. It's incredible the turnaround that Vrabel's done.
I thought going into the year. Now, granted, obviously you can't project that like Joe Burrow getting hurt, and obviously like basically half of the Bucs offense didn't play. Like you can't project that stuff. But like I looked at it and said, okay, with an easy schedule, was like, if the coaching staff is legit and the team makes and Drake May makes the next step, like I thought 11 wins was their ceiling. Like realistically, just looking at the schedule. I mean, looking at it,
that's as if everything went like
right. Like I thought like 10 wins was good, and that if the, like perfect storm, like 11 wins was perfect storm type stuff for me. Again, you can't project injuries on other teams.
We're now sitting here saying that
like 13 wins is on the table.
13 to
doable.
14 wins is
the floor.
I would say 13 wins. I would say 12 wins is the floor for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 12 is the dirt floor. Yeah.
13 is probably the median, and 14 is the ceiling of expectations.
I would agree.
But like 14 wins, because like you said, if we believe they should win the next 3 games, that would put them at 11-2. If we go into they have Buffalo and the Ravens, if we say they're going to split them, they're going to lose one and win one, that will give them the 3rd loss, and then they have Jets and Miami at home.
Jets in Miami. Those are 2 wins.
Jets on the road and Miami at home to finish out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That should be 2 wins. Now, we'll talk about like Ben asked me every single game for the rest of the year yesterday, and made me just do like quick win losses for every single team, every single matchup in the NFL. And like the Patriots had clinched the 1 seed. And so I gave them a loss at the end of the year because in that sense, they're going to, I would probably have them sit their starters.
Right.
Right.
They'll get a couple.
You know what I mean?
They'll get a couple of plays in and then rest. Yeah. But I mean, but that speaks to your point earlier, Matt, about the fact that there's no juggernaut, right? No, I mean, like if I'm sitting here, like given that that 2 tough games, I would feel more confident with the Bills than the Ravens game because you have most of a bye week, right? Because you play Monday Night Football before the bye, so it's like you lose 1 day. But they more or less will have a week and a half worth of preparation to get ready for the Bills. And it's at home. It's not like it's at Buffalo.
Yeah.
So you have a week and a half of prep time. And then, assuming the Ravens are fully healthy at Baltimore, like if I was going to bet on it now, I would say beat Buffalo, lose to Baltimore. But
yeah, I mean that would be my guess too. I mean, there's no juggernaut right now in the NFL, in the AFC for 2 reasons. One, because I just don't think there is in terms of like the talent on the teams and how good. And 2, how things currently stand. And there's not that much left in the NFL season, and we're already in week 10. We're looking at a scenario where like the top 3 seeds right now that are 8-2 are the New England Patriots, the Colts, and the Broncos. Do the Indianapolis Colts scare you?
No.
Are they a good football team? Yes. But
Sure.
Do they scare you in the sense of like you're like, oh shit, I don't want to play the Colts? No.
And we would
Do the Denver Broncos and both flipping Knicks scare you? No.
Offense doesn't, defense does, but I see.
Are they a good football team? Like a pretty good football team? Yeah. But do they scare you? No.
Yeah, the only team in the AFC so there's 2 teams in the AFC that scare me in general, and it's first and foremost it's Kansas City. Like playing Kansas City in any capacity here or in Arrowhead would scare me. And I know Matt doesn't fully believe in the other team, but like given that they've had recent playoff success, I wouldn't want to see Buffalo in the playoffs. Just given their and I get that they're not having a typical a typical Bill season by the last 5 years standards, but I wouldn't the Bill. It's more so like I wouldn't feel comfortable, but you can't
it's the
count
teams who have been there versus teams who haven't. You haven't been there, so other teams have.
Anytime you're playing Josh Allen, you're not going to feel comfortable.
Exactly.
And the coaches too. Like I know that McDermott I think he's a good, not great coach. Like Andy Reid's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. And like it's those teams that would worry me because they've been there.
Correct.
Like, and I would feel obviously any game at home I'd be more comfortable here than on the road. But I don't think I'd feel comfortable playing Denver either. Like I realize like Sean Payton's been there. The defense is legit. They have good players on offense.
That defense scares me 100%.
And Bo Nix, they did go to the playoffs last year. And so and I realize that he's he hasn't taken a step in terms of quarterback development, in my opinion. But like I wouldn't feel great playing Denver either.
No, but what I'm saying is like in terms of those Colts in Denver, like in terms of playoff matchups of like in terms of what you expect if you're going to be playing a playoff team, right? Neither of them are overly scary. KC, a team you obviously generally want to avoid. They've been there, they've won, they've proven it. They're probably the scariest team of what you don't want to play. But if you do, you most likely are getting them at home at the moment, given the current standings and how things are looking like they're going to be playing out. Could they still win their division? Possibly, but are they going to catch the Patriots as a higher seed? I don't think so. So if you ever have to play them, it's probably in New England.
Yep.
Baltimore, same thing. If you play Baltimore, it's probably here. If you play Buffalo, it's still a little to be determined because if Buffalo beats you, then we don't like how things play out. But at the moment, odds are it's here. Excuse my dogs proceeding to wrestle in the kitchen.
You're fine.
So you look at it and it's saying like the only two teams above you, never mind, even if the Pats finishes as a 3 seed, the only two teams above you right now are two teams that don't necessarily really scare me. In the 3 teams below you that I think are the scarier teams, you would at least get at home.
Yeah, you'll get home and then presumably in the wild card round, right? Assuming we have the number 1 seed, which just for conversation purposes, I'm going to do. That assumes that 2 of those 3 teams will probably play each other, and then you would have, if the worst of those 3 gets lucky, whatever the case. So it is a weird season in that the teams presumably ahead of you are not as scary as the ones behind you, just by the way that it's shaken out, which could be a downside considering how this season shaped out for us. But
if the Patriots get the 1 seed, you don't want teams like KC KC to get a wild card. You want KC to get the 2 seed. You want KC to win the division. You don't want KC to get the 5, 6, or 7 seed because that makes it more likely that you're gonna match up against them earlier in the cycle. In the cycle,
yeah, sure, that makes sense. But still, it's interesting that's how it could potentially shake out with just how good the season has gone for us. And now,
and what's crazy is. And what's crazy if they do end up with a wild card, because I think the Chargers currently have the inside track on the division. I'm sorry, Denver does. So let's just say that Kansas City ends up with a wild card. Based on how the records look like they're going to play out, like you could be looking at a Mahomes Lamar Jackson wild card game first weekend.
Oh, that would be electric.
It'd be wild.
Like absolutely, yeah. And so I mean, obviously we don't have to play that game, but. I mean, yeah, because you figure, if they end up as a wild card, Kansas City will probably have to go through either Baltimore or whoever wins the AFC West. Because when Matt and I were looking at the schedule and I put him through the ringer yesterday, it looks like schedule-wise, it's the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos are all going to make the playoffs. And it's just going to boil down to obviously who wins the division. But yeah, so it's like you figure that in all likelihood, you're probably going to have 2 AFC West teams in the first round, and then your other AFC West team probably has to go to Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
In all likelihood, because just the way that with Lamar Jackson, I think
out. Yeah.
So, but and whether that plays into our favor, I don't know. Obviously, we'll see. But
No, but Matt's point about us being at home potentially is certainly the positive spin on it is if we have to face these teams that are certainly have more experience, even if they're not better than us per se, at least we're at home versus having to go into Kansas City, into Buffalo, into Baltimore, whatever.
Yeah, winning the division, I think winning the division is definitely paramount. Because I mean, and I say that, but based on how things play out, like if they don't win the division, in all likelihood, they're unless they completely fall apart, which I don't see, you're looking at probably going to Indy first round, which again, indoors against a team that doesn't have coaching experience in the playoffs, has Daniel Jones, who we expect to turn into a puddle at some point. And, they have decent wide receivers, but the Patriots'
strength is our strength.
Correct. Right. It's, we shut down their best player. Like it's over. Real quick, just speaking about the running situation, Stevenson is on the field testing out his toe. Mike Reese tweeted about 5 minutes ago saying he's testing things on the side of the field at practice while the majority of players are going through stretching on the other side of the field. So we'll see where that goes. He hasn't updated since, but it looks like Stevenson is testing it to see how involved in practice he can be today.
Yeah, I think that they're pushing. I think that he is less likely. I think Booty's probably like closer, less of an injury, but at the same time, like hamstring are more worrisome of re-injury type of thing.
But didn't he? Yeah, I mean, he had a minor one. So, I mean, especially it's cold. It was snowing earlier around my house. So, maybe one of those things where they kind of slow walk it and feel like, arrogantly so that Kayshon Boutte is not going to, like, not having him is not going to put them behind the 8 ball against their opponent this week. Obviously they want him out there, but I think that if they're on the fence and they want to, give him another week off and then he gets basically like a mini bye's worth of time to be back and ready for Cincinnati, I wouldn't really be shocked. I mean, again, arrogantly so, like not having Kayshon Boutte isn't going to make them, is not going to handicap them against the Jets this week. Yeah, and it was a mild hamstring thing, so hopefully it's okay.
TV and K-Will just now contributing All-Star. Yeah. I mean, Travion and K-Will's contribution in how they contributed this week. I still don't anticipate Kyle Williams having a big role once Boutte's back. But I think Travion's here to stay in terms of how things are going to play out the rest of the year, even when Stevenson's back. You think he's improving a little bit as a runner? I mean, as a runner but primarily as a passing in pass protection. And they're really kind of finding a spot for him as a runner, really working well, getting him outside the numbers. There is some struggle working him inside the numbers. But at the same time, there was also just absolutely nothing going on inside the numbers this past weekend either.
Well, it was kind of a mixed bag with that because it felt like they were kind of banging their head against the wall, trying to run between the tackles. But then his 55-yard touchdown was up the middle, untouched. With that, the one thing I did notice, and I noticed it mostly on the touchdown run at the end of the game. If you go back and look at it, it's a little weird to me that he runs into the back of his blockers. Like it wasn't like somebody had lost contain on the outside, and like maybe the angle of the replays I was looking at didn't really show this, but I didn't feel like the containment had broken down enough that he shouldn't have just bounced it outside. It felt a little weird to me that he ran into like the backside of like the left side of the offensive line before bouncing it outside. Like that was a little weird to me. And I know that there's been rumblings from the guys who have been covering the Pats that his vision is kind of the part that's come along the slowest in his transition to the NFL. Like obviously he has game breaking speed. And And you saw that obviously on the kickoff return to open preseason, both of his long touchdown runs yesterday. Like you've seen glimpses of that. Like he clearly can run away from pretty much anybody. So his vision seems to be a little bit weird. But it's nice to see that they did get some things to work. It's funny because I know like Romo on the broadcast, they had talked about like the outside runs. Really any run was hit or miss. Like Henderson had, let's see, what's 69 and 55? 124. So he had 124 yards rushing on those 2 touchdowns. And they came on plays when the vast majority of the runs that day, up the middle and outside, more often than not, didn't work. As far as Kyle Williams, I don't know as if I think his involvement changes much whether Booty's there or not. Because Kyle Williams he was credited with 2 targets against the Bucs. One of them was because Drake May threw it away and Kyle Williams happened to be the closest guy. So real targets, Kyle Williams was targeted 1 time. Granted, he took it to the house for like what a 70 some ish 60 whatever it was yard touchdown.
77, I think.
I mean, it was a long again game breaking speed, but like his true target rate on is still very very low. I'd like to see him more involved. I don't know. Like, obviously, you can tell that, again, just like Henderson, he has game-breaking speed. He'll run away from pretty much anybody. I'd like to see them get him involved a little bit more, obviously, after seeing that. But I just don't see them utilizing him, like, drastically more than they have. But I'd still like to see him a little bit more involved.
Yeah, he's the 5th wide receiver on a team that really only uses 3. And now with Booty out, that was kind of the reason he's in. There is a chance that maybe he does get a bit more targets this week, especially if Booty's still is out. And I think Austin Hooper's on the injury report as well with a concussion. I think that's what it was. So if he's out, that might open up the passing lanes even more just to get more people involved.
Yeah, I think they could use when Hooper's out. They use Matt Collins a little bit in his receiving role a little bit, so that could open some more doors.
When did he get concussed against the Bucs?
I don't know if he
went
out of the game. He might have just like felt it after the game. I'm not sure exactly, but
because I know that on Henderson's first touchdown run, like the seal block on that side, aside from Hunter Henry, was Mac Hollins on the outside. Like Austin Hooper was not on that side of the ball. Now I don't know if they ever line him up on both sides. I'm sure they do, but I don't know. It feels like, and I mean, again, Austin Hooper is not a blocking tight end, so that's part of it. But that was my only thought process. Was I wonder when he actually got hurt.
I'm not sure when he got it, but in terms of like just Kyle Williams playing times, quick, like when Booty's out there, I expect Kyle Williams to go right back to where he was. It's where the current, like the ladder works right now. He's the 5th on the depth chart. Even Douglas is a guy that, I saw a couple of people talking about, I think Douglas should get more time. The answer to that is no, he shouldn't. I think what they're doing right now is working. Diggs is working more on the inside. Matt Collins is working a little bit both inside, outside, short, deep. Booty's working intermediate and deep. And Douglas is being that guy that floats around and kind of that deep ball merchant right now. We saw what Douglas was as a full-time guy. We saw what Douglas was as a slot receiver. It wasn't working out. It didn't look good here. So he's finally finding some type of role here that fits him. Yep. I don't think that we should be just messing with that. If you want to argue maybe he gets like a couple more snaps doing that, like maybe like it's him a little bit more than Hollins, but like for the most part, no. Like what the role that he is in is fine. It's working. Matt Collins played well this past week. There's a reason why teams like Matt Collins. There's a reason why. He's consistent. He has good hands. He runs pretty good routes. He's good. He has good size. He blocks very well. He's reliable. Like he's not a guy that's going to go and put up 1,000 yards, but he is the ideal number 4 guy on a team. and maybe you're asking him to be like more of the number 3-ish, 3-4 right now, but like that's okay. It's working.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
a guy
and
like Drake May that's elevating everyone around him.
Yeah, and to be fair, like just on the Mac Hollins thing, he leads all wide receivers in share of offensive snap percentage at 62.5%, I think is what Reese tweeted. Let me see. Yeah, 62.5% of the times the Patriots are snapping the ball, Hollins is on the field. That, like I said, leads the team. I don't know where other guys are. I know they kind of slow walked Diggs. He was on the field for like 60% of the snaps. But I did some quick numbers, and I realized that Douglas got off to an incredibly slow start. Through like 2 or 3 games, he had like -6 yards or whatever. He's averaging through 9 games. He's averaging 2 catches for 32 yards. Now, keep in mind, that includes the Saints game where he went for
Like 100 and
where is he? Hold on.
although one of those got called back.
It was just Douglas. He had 3 for 71 because one of them got called back.
That's right. And he had 4 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown against Atlanta. So quite literally, so let's see, 4 divided by 20. That's so 20% of his catches and almost a third of his production in terms of yards and touchdowns, because he has 3 touchdowns. So basically, if you take away that one game, you're talking about a guy who has 16 catches for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns in 8 games. Like he's not a featured option in the offense. Like he's a good gadgety player who can, like if somebody else, he steals like coverage on the back end, he can exploit matchups, but like Douglas is not going to be a featured guy in the offense.
No. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll wrap this up with some predictions. I see Benny Ballgames down there at the bottom with a 30-10 victory. Zach, where are you at for this Thursday night matchup against the dreaded Jets, which we say this every year. It's the most hard team, and they just suck every year.
Awful team. I'll go 27-9. I'll go 3 field goals for them. I don't think they scored a touchdown. I'll go 27-9 Patriots.
Oh, he's adding in 310 and his first 300-yard game of the year. Okay. I'll go 31-13. I'll go 31-13 Patriots. I think they move the ball with, pretty ease for the most part. Fields doesn't turn the ball over mostly because he doesn't throw the ball much. And
yeah, I think he threw the ball 11 times against the Browns. He was like 6 of 11 for 65 yards.
Yeah, he had 6 complete. So like he I don't know if he has an interception or anything this year. Yeah, so he you're not really probably going to get an interception on him. So I don't know about the turnover battle. So
he has 1 interception, and it came against the Browns. So he had 50. So he has in 3 of his last 4 games, he has 45 yards, 46 yards, and 54 yards passing. and his best completion percentage over those 4, like in 3 of those 4 games, his best completion percentage was 54.5%. He did go. So now put this in perspective. Against the Bengals, he completed 65.6% of his passes for 244 yards, and that's in the middle of where he threw for a total of like 130 yards over 3 games.
He had 285 against the Cowboys.
Do you know that former NFL scout guy on Twitter?
No, Baldy.
No,
not scout player. I don't know who
it's like he was a former Jet scout, ironically, and he was, first of all, he did not like Drake May, and he said that the Patriots traded the wrong quarterback this past offseason. But he posted a list of like the most disrespected quarterbacks this morning, and on like the top 5 was Justin Fields and Dylan Gabriel, and I quoted it. I was like Justin Fields is in the top 5 most overly respected because he just has continuously sucked and been given chance after chance solely because of his legs. I was like, he's not an NFL passer. He sucks as a quarterback. And no, Dylan Gabriel. Did anybody watch this dude throw a football this weekend? Did anybody watch him play football against the Patriots a couple weeks? This dude's going to be playing in the XFL in a couple of years. He's horrible.
I mean,
horrible.
Kevin Stefanski loves the guy, so I don't actually know if he'll be
he's a
kicked
nice
out.
Dude. He sucks. He sucks.
One thing I'll
post
say,
a
though,
couple of videos.
He wasn't the reason Cleveland lost. He actually played pretty good against the Jets.
He can't make passes. Yeah, the only thing he can do is throw it like 4 yards down the field. He can't make NFL throws. He is horrible. He's so bad. But all right. Any final words?
No, Pats are going to be 9-2 here in about 48. Let's see, 48 plus, call it 56 hours. Pats are going to be 9-2. We'll be riding high into the mini bye week, getting ready for, to quote the great Bill Belichick, we're on to Cincinnati. Will be the internal taglines. Sox offseason is ramping up. Hopefully they can make some big moves. Craig Breslow more or less said some pretty big things. So hopefully he can back it up. I know that Sam Kennedy has been the mouthpiece over the last couple of years, but Breslow really hasn't talked like that. So hopefully that's a sign of some good things to come. But yeah, Pat should be in good shape. And, we'll see how the MLB offseason unfolds.
Yeah. Shout out to Zdeno Chara, Hall of Fame. Make it in the Hall of Fame, and he will be getting his jersey retired in January for the Bruins, also well-deserved. The Celtics are, they're just Jaylen Brown is playing very well, but other than him, everybody else is not playing very well. Derek White is struggling this year. The team as a whole, just after them too, doesn't have a lot of talent. So if Derek White's not playing that well, the team doesn't have enough juice. Yeah. They're struggling, but them two, especially, but to Zdeno Chara, shout out to him.
Yep.
Like you said, Patriots 9-2, and they'll be hopefully 11-2, and I'm riding high, boys. It's feels good for the Patriots to be back. We were spoiled by the Patriots for so many years, but the last few years, I said to my wife, it's since I met her, really, we've been together a little over 6 years now. The Patriots has always sucked, and she never experienced the good part of the Patriots with me.
So it's her fault. You guys got together and then the dynasty fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, we started dating in the summer of 2019, and that was Brady's last year. And so, they were good that year, but they lost in the first round, and then Brady left. I cried. And then it was just been misery since. She bought me a Mac Jones jersey for our anniversary. Do you still have it? Excuse me. She bought me a Jarrett Stidham jersey for our anniversary. I sold that on Poshmark. Then she bought me a Mac Jones jersey. I don't know. I think that might still be in my closet.
You should just take one of those thread removers and remove the name off the back, and just order one custom on Etsy that says May, and then have her sew it onto the back of the jersey.
I really could probably get Emma, Emma for my wedding to probably do it. I could probably get her to do it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll just bribe her. She's in the giving mood because we're having a baby. She'll do whatever I ask. She's nice like that. So, okay. All right. Until next time, we'll raise the banner. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Later.
See ya.